I'm John Bungie. I'm the owner of Will's Northwoods Inn, which is the place that we're in right now. And as you can see, I got a tie on. That's because it's in court today. I'm 77 years old. I was a lawyer for most of my life. That's most of my productive life. And back in the early 80s, I got into the real estate business a little bit. And in the course of that, I picked up the building that we're sitting in right now. It turned into Will's North. The bar was already here, but the guy that was running it didn't like it. It was having trouble, and so he sold it to me, and I couldn't find anybody else to run it. And I reached back into my Wisconsin background and decided I'll make it a Northwoods bar. So that's what we've got. I bought the building, and the guy that was here running the bar, he was sort of an unpleasant guy, and people would walk in, he'd say, the world's just going to hell in a handbasket, and so he didn't have much business, but he did have the wood paneling, and he said, would you buy it? I wanted him out because he had a good lease from his standpoint, and I tried to get somebody else to come in, and it took about 3 or 4 months, and I didn't have any success with that. But in the course of this, I spent a lot of time in the place, which more time than I ever had before. And it was like, and I'm from Wisconsin.
What part of Wisconsin?
From La Crosse.
Oh, I've been
right
there.
Below Hayward.
Yeah.
And my family had a place up near Lake Coudray in Hayward. A lot of the stuff that's in the bar is from that area. If you ask me about it, I can identify it. But we used to go up there every summer, for extended periods of time. And actually, when I got older, we went up there with friends of mine that were in high school and so forth. And this place, once he was out of it, it looked like every bar I'd ever been in northern Wisconsin.
What was it called? What was it called when he had it?
It was called Esky Palmer's Pub.
Esky Palmer's Pub.
And I said, this is like every bar in northern Wisconsin I've ever been in, and so I think I'm going to make it Will's Northwoods Inn.
So what are your supper club memories? You were telling me the other night.
Well, I'll tell you, actually, and this is why your book struck a chord with me. The first line you've got in the book is about the Turk's Inn up near Hayward.
Hayward, yeah.
Now I'm 77, okay? And your first line is, it is unclear if Turk's Inn in Sultan Room is the oldest supper club in Wisconsin, but it sure feels like it, okay? Anyway, I hung out when my family went up there, we always went to the Turk's Inn and we always had supper. And the person who was the owner of the book, who's now dead, she died at 85.
Yeah, I know.
Margie. I remember Margie when I was, she was older than I am, and I remember her as being sort of a femme fatale
exactly.
one time or another. So and I saw that in the book, and I opened the book, and they're talking about the Turks Club, and I said, well, this guy knows what he's talking about.
When people come in here at Will's, do they talk about supper clubs? Do they ask about supper clubs?
We start off as a bar, okay, and it's basically a bar and a tavern and so forth. But the supper club is something that you have to do, and we've got to figure out how to fit it in with everything else. I don't think we can't do it every day. We're talking about like every Thursday night have it be supper club night or something like that, and sort of go out of your way to do it, which I'd like to do.
You know what? When I was doing the book. And you being from Wisconsin, nobody could. I had fun with asking people, why do they call it a club? Why do you think they call it a club?
Oh, it was a club.
It was always
clubs.
Okay.
They were at least I'll tell you what my explanation is in my own mind. And remember, I go back. I was born in 1936. They set up, and I actually got examples of this. But they were in Minnesota, across a river from La Crosse.
Yeah.
They were clubs because of prohibition.
Right.
And they started serving booze and these things, and they made them clubs to have some kind of restriction so that people couldn't just go in.
Well, one thing I learned about doing the book is like on a Saturday night, going to a supper club was an entire night out.
Oh, absolutely.
People would go there about 4 or 5 o'clock, have a couple cocktails,
Yeah.
take in a really nice Wisconsin view,
Right.
and then they'd have their dinner. Then they would adjourn to a lounge and have a couple more cocktails and listen to a live band or something.
Yeah, and this is exactly right. This is what my family did. And actually, And when I, this was after I don't know if my family's, my parents are even still alive, but I used to go up to, used to fly up to northern Wisconsin to the Turks Inn with a couple of lawyers that worked on a big case with me. And we would go to the Turks Inn, and that's exactly, and it was a destination. I mean, part of the destination for them, the reason to fly up there and to do this was to go to the Turks Inn.
Yeah.
And they loved it. I mean, that's so that's kind of six reasons.
You've done a wonderful job here.
Well, we've tried to.
Yeah.
I don't know. But our original, I don't know if I should you cut this out. But our original effort was there's a bar in Hayward called the Moccasin Inn.
Oh, I've been there.
You've been there?
With all
Okay.
the animals. Yeah.
With all
yeah,
taxidermy.
Yeah,
all
right,
that stuff.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And I was sensitive about the tax. We don't have that much taxidermy as we could.
Yeah.
But that was my original image when we started
that's
this
great.
place off. Was the Moccasin Inn, because I tried to do as much as I could, and then sort of in that context. And the other thing I will tell you, and the Atlantic people love this. One of my memories, and I think other people have this. If you're driving up to northern Wisconsin, you go by all kinds of Leinenkugel highway signs, that say "Welcome to the Northwoods," and so our identification with Leinenkugel came right from day one because I had that influence, and other people know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's really interesting.